Sometimes the biggest scandals start with a single question. Where did the money go? That's the question hanging over Telkom Towers, a building the South African Police Service purchased for around 695 million rand, only for the costs to spiral to more than 1.6 billion rand, and yet the building remains empty and unsafe. During the parliamentary hearing, Lieutenant General Yolisa Matakata revealed what went wrong, and even Julius Malema stepped in with sharp questions about corruption, political interference, and questionable procurement practices. This clip you're about to see shows exactly what she said. Pay attention to the details, because the story behind this money is far more shocking than it appears.
Can I just ask, what triggered the investigations of the Telkom Towers?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The Telkom Towers investigation was triggered to me by the escalating fees that Public Works kept on saying, they wanted funding to renovate. They renovated, for example, for us first the 3 floors plus the bathrooms and ground floor. And when I look at that 10 million and the environment, to me, I wasn't satisfied that 10 million was spent for those, because there was still dust but we occupied the places anyway. Now there was 100 and something million which they wanted for other renovation. Then there was 460 million which they wanted. They counted not all the towers that were going to be renovated. Now, amongst the documents, when you read them, there was an undertaking by them that they will utilize their own budget to deal with issues of lift, issues of air conditioning systems, those basic things, which were never done, but they wanted money from subs. I felt that they are taking us for a ride, and they will promise you things, never come back until you go back. Hence, December 2017, they promised the National Commissioner that 10 million, they shall finish a renovation for the first few 4 floors that we were going to occupy. And we went there in May. The next thing, they took us out with a letter that there is no compliance certificate for you to occupy. And of course, it was very, very problematic. At times, the lift will run from 25th floor down to without stopping anywhere. So it was highly risky for us to stay there. So I felt that there's a lot of money that they want, but there's not even one tower that is ready for us to occupy. And over and above that, a lot of money is being spent. We are still utilizing rentals around the town when we could have been able to maybe build our own Telkom Towers with that money and be able to occupy.
How much did you pay to buy it?
The initial amount was, I think it was 695. It was negotiated up to 695 million, and the Telkom Towers bought one building back, which was their key point. So it was 605 or 600 and something there. Then there's these monies that they kept on requesting, and obviously because we needed to make the environment ready for us so that when we occupy, we instituted, it was TMS had to install cables and do certain, and those cables were being stolen when they've been installed.
So the overrun went to up to 2 billion. What were the reasons?
It was 1.6 billion. I just wrote an overall figure. Yeah. And I'm sure now it's beyond that.
It's beyond 2.
Because they continued to spend. Remember, they also went there and they were also taken out recently.
So you made the investigation confidential, and then Minister Kele decided to make them public.
Public, yeah.
Why?
Like I said, when the Honorable member asked me, I wasn't sure whether it was based on the fact that he just wanted information and he didn't take it seriously, that by speaking openly, it may put me at risk.
And then, do you know these officials from the public works who kept on? Well, what are their names and positions?
At the time, it was DG Vukela, is it Vukela? Advocate Vukela. I was working close with Mr. Maruja. Then there were other people that were reporting to Mr. Maruja.
And that building is occupied?
That building is empty as we speak, from 2015.
After spending all of that money, the building is still not occupied. Has there been any investigation by Auditor General or any institution to that effect with regard to this matter?
I'm not aware of any investigations by Auditor General, but I am aware of the investigation that has been instituted by the new minister when he arrived there on the very same matter. I just don't know what is its status.
With regard to the issue of 2010 FIFA accommodation, you allege that in response to a subpoena from the investigative directorate, you collated and provided the relevant documentary evidence regarding the 2010 FIFA accommodation to the investigative directorate during 2022. Who were the subjects of the investigation? You can expand on that issue as well.
Okay. It is Mr. Pandey, General Kele, as well as the provincial commissioner or the former provincial commissioner of KZN Mamunyi. But as I followed the case, there was, I think, General Kele was removed from that case. I don't know for whatever reason.
Yeah, but just remind the country what was happening around that issue. What was the issue?
Well, it was with regards to the purchase of the buildings. There was a proposal where they wanted to buy a building in the center of Pretoria for head office, head office. And I think that building was being purchased from Mr. Ru Shabangu, etc. And there was also one building in provincial office in KZN. That was in regard to that.
So you are convinced that the investigation on PPEs was characterized by political interferences?
I believe so. I'm convinced.
And go on.
Because I was even called to the minister, dragged in fact to the minister's office, and the minister was not happy with myself and General Ruth.
So this list you're talking about, that you were given a list and they said it's from my minister. Who gave you the list and what makes you convinced that that list was from the minister?
It was not easy, of course, to confirm whether that list indeed was minister's list. However, due to the relationship that General Ngwenya and the minister had, I believed. As a result, we were called there, and the minister complained that orders were not issued to those companies.
Did you report this incident to anyone, like the president or somebody else? Because you are given a list without a due process. You don't appoint, you go to a meeting, you get chastised like a child in front of other colleagues, which is in a way a confirmation that indeed this list comes from the minister. That's why he's so upset about it. That wrongdoing, have you reported it anywhere?
I reported this matter to the National Commissioner, as I said earlier on, that I called the National Commissioner who was attending the other meeting, and he was supposed, myself and General Reid were going to attend on his behalf. But because of these happenings, I said he must come. We are no more going to attend that particular meeting. And we met the National Commissioner in the basement at Vages, and I briefed him in detail about that.
And then there was interference again on the Jacobs investigation by the minister.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
What were the findings in that case?
The findings in that case was that, for one, the PPEs that were purchased, for example, by the division supply chain, also supplied PPEs to, they were submitting their needs also to crime intelligence. Secondly, they purchased those PPEs utilizing secret service account, which according to the Secret Service Account Act, there is no provision that they can do that. And then those PPEs, they were, I'm sorry because I don't have the report now. There were also some captains and families and who were the companies where those PPEs were procured. There was even, I remember receiving the sample of a mask. It was like a box. The quality of the PPEs that were purchased there was really out of the ordinary.
Were there politicians amongst the people who were providing those?
I may not know, but there were captains and who were, some were former crime intelligence officials who, and some were internal linked to those ones.
So, General Mgwenya, what is so special between him and Minister Cele? Because it looks like he was not happy with the outcomes of his disciplinary processes.
Honorable Member, I wish I knew what is special that they are sharing, but it seems like they share something.
And following that dismissal, you became a victim.
Yeah.
And you believe that the minister is the one who was at the center of victimizing you?
I believe so.
You're put on leave for, not on leave, what, suspension for how many years?
3.5 years.
Were you ever being taken to the DC?
The DCs that I went to is the one that I lodged at SSSPC. For example, when we talk about the very, very last case, which we agreed with the court that they must take me for a DC.
So then they put you 3.5 years at home and pay you money.
Pay me money, and while they are paying me money, they are appointing other lieutenant generals to act on my positions, and they are paying them money.
So they are paying two salaries for one
in
position.
one post.
But there should be a problem there, some vacuum in law, because you can see that these people, by not taking you to DC, they looked at your age. They're like, we're not winning the case, we're just going to put her there and pay her. But effectively, they've dismissed you illegally, because that's what happened. Am I correct?
It is correct, and they will pronounce, they will say, my legal attorney is the former brigadier in the police who still deal with some of the matters of the juniors. They will say, hey, those people, they don't want to see you. They say, as long as you stay at home, it's fine.
So when Masamala says Matali is going to give EFF money through, was it DTI or something? Did he produce anything to that effect, or he was just talking from his head?
He was just talking from his head. And in my opinion, I think he was trying to make me do what he wanted me to do.
And those utterances you made about minister complaining to you that myself, Matali, and General Sitole, we met and discussed him and all of that. you must be rest assured that we don't doubt you, because he repeated them here in Parliament in one of the debates. It was a State of the Nation debate or something. And I said to him, you must go and repeat what you are saying outside, because here you are protected by privileges. You can say whatever you want to say. He never repeated it outside. If anything, he came back to apologize for those allegations he made, because there was no truth to that. In fact, I've never met General Stoll. Matali is my friend. I can't deny him, but Stoll, I don't know him. So there's no such a thing. I think my colleague here will be very happy to. And you're in the police. Talk. And Lieutenant General, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Lieutenant General, I'm just going to...
Honorable Matthijs,
Yes, Chair.
it's now 28 minutes past.
What you just saw is the tip of the iceberg. Let's break it down. First, the Telkom Towers building was purchased for 695 million rand, but renovations and additional costs quickly escalated. According to Matakata, the building required hundreds of millions more to fix floors, bathrooms, lifts, and air conditioning systems. By the time the money kept rolling in, the total cost reached around 1.6 billion rand. And yet, despite all that money, the building still couldn't be occupied safely. Some lifts were reportedly malfunctioning dangerously, and the building had no proper compliance certificate. Eventually, the police had to leave the building completely. But here's where it gets even more concerning. During the hearing, Julius Malema questioned Matakata about political interference and PPE procurement. Some purchases had been made through Secret Service accounts, and some suppliers were linked to police officials, raising red flags about transparency. And what happened to Matakata herself? According to her testimony, she was suspended for 3.5 years after raising concerns, all while still being paid, and another officer acted in her position. In other words, 2 salaries were being paid for one job. This story raises serious questions about how billions in taxpayer money are being managed, who is benefiting, and how political interference continues to affect investigations. Billions spent, a building still empty, and a senior officer sidelined. The Telkom Towers saga is a textbook case of mismanagement and corruption at the highest level. So now we want to hear from you. After hearing this breakdown, what do you think really happened with the Telkom Towers project? Was it mismanagement or something more serious? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more updates on political investigations, corruption, and explosive updates like this one, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.